Imagine a world without colors, where everything is just black and white. Or a world without memory, where all the great moments of our lives are lost forever. Boring. Maybe scary, right? Well, over the last few weeks, we've featured men and women who with great care and dexterity have helped us to capture the moments of our lives in the most exciting and colorful ways. Well, today we're in Abuja, the nation's capital, to meet one of Nigeria's most sought-after photographers. Guess who? I am Kayode Alayande. Welcome to the Camera Lounge. Lights, camera, action. So right before the break, I remember I asked you, guess who? But now I know you know who that is. At least you've seen his face as we walk through and paced through his magnificent studio, I must say. Welcome again, Emeka Amafor.
Odogu, you forgot to.
Is that Odogu?
You forgot to add Odogu at the end. You have to add
Odogu Amafor. All right.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Camera Lounge.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. I want you to introduce yourself.
I would try to answer that because every day you're asking yourself who you are. All right. So my real name is Emeka Gabriel Amafor. I am the last of 6 kids, right? And Bedge is a nickname that came up in my secondary school days.
What were you doing?
We were actually picking out wrestling characters, names for our wrestling characters, just childhood playful stuff. And my friend pretty much just came up with random names, combined it, and it formed Bedge, and it stuck. And thereon, people started calling me Bedge. Went into university. I would introduce myself first as Bedge before Emeka. I am 27 and a wedding photographer. Would like to say I'm still discovering myself, right? In life, in career, in every aspect of it.
I see that leadership, based on your work and how much you've grown, your work has bestowed on you some level of leadership in the industry.
Yep.
What does that mean to you?
Like how you said it was bestowed on me. I didn't. It's a responsibility that I just walked into, and I feel like I am capable of it. I mean, being a frontliner of the wedding scene, being someone who, the main thing about weddings, Bedge comes up. So that's responsibility on its own, because there are people who always say, oh, you inspire me, I wake up every day and I want to be like Bedge. When I hear that, as much as it's flattering, it's still treasure that comes from leadership, like you said. So I feel I'm going to just do everything my way. I'll take my time to always structure the brand properly, to keep inspiring people, keep changing the narrative. And with weddings, I feel changing the way Nigerian weddings is seen. First of all, value. We need to start valuing our photographers, how much we earn, how people need to understand that photography is an art. When you hear how much we charge here and how much they charge over there, there's a huge difference. We're doing way more work here for less. And it's because there's an orientation that has already been there before any of us. Because I'll give you an example. When I started, people were like, oh, you're charging too cheap for how much good work you're putting out. You're too cheap. Why are you charging this amount? You should be charging higher. And I was like, I'm coming from a place where what you think is cheap is a lot for me, right? What I charged the first time, when they even paid me, I was like, I can earn. Yeah, so it means money is not the driving force. But then again, getting to where I'm at now and being able to say this is what I charge and people pay for it, something has changed. And I feel like there are a lot of other people who are still stuck in what I was going through then that need to move forward.
What changed?
That's a tough question. What changed? I realized that I have a talent that is rare, so I have to place proper value on it.
What's that talent?
Creating images differently, coming up with concepts, coming up with ideas, right? I feel like being able to see an image before it's even created.
Okay, so let's begin from the beginning.
Yeah.
How did you get into photography?
I studied economics. I never thought I would be a photographer, right? I've always been interested in cameras, in pictures. I mean, back then I'm the guy who you would give your phone to say, take a picture of all of us because, oh, give it to Bedge. Nice Habisna pass, even with a phone. So there's always been that element of photography, right? But I never obviously thought I was going to be a photographer because still photography is wasn't a profession anyone was going to say if you ask them what do you want to be in future. It's doctor, lawyers, and all. Studied economics in the University of Abuja, and the minute I finished, I just wanted to feel my passion, right? So I just asked my mom to send me money to get a camera, right? To get a professional camera. And she did, and that's how photography started, pretty much. That's how I started taking pictures of people, started earning money through photography, right? So it now went from passion into making it a career, into a business.
What kind of family do you come from? And I want you to talk from the perspective of economy.
I would say a family of 6. I have 5 siblings. I'm last 6. It's weird because I've never spoken about this on camera, but I have a different kind of, I think I'll say I have a different kind of family because most of my siblings are stepbrothers, stepsisters. Because my mom is different. It's a different story where you say, oh, the man had 2 wives and kids. But my mom had husbands, right? She was with 2 husbands before my dad. So it's not the regular story you hear, right? And it's one of the reasons I respect my mom, because on top of that story, she single-handedly took care of all the kids, right? Because my dad passed away at an early age, and my mom pretty much was the dad, the mom, right? She took care of us, and she did an amazing job. Yeah. She was an accountant for the most part of her career, and pretty much the best woman I've ever known is my mom. How strong she is, and I feel like even in my career to date, how I respect women, how I see women, how I treat women can be traced from how my mom brought me up. Middle class, right?
Upper middle class, would you say?
Yeah, when you have 6 children, I don't know if you're upper middle class. But yeah, we didn't lack anything. So I would never come out to say, oh, I didn't have Gary. I was soaking Gary at some
All right,
point.
so that
No.
wasn't your story.
No, that's not my
Now,
story.
so that brings me to my next question.
Yeah.
Now, there are a lot of people who want to follow their passion, but
Yeah.
they think about the economy.
The economy.
And the risk involved
Yeah.
in following a passion.
Yes.
Sometimes people are cautious to follow their passion, especially when they can't see how it will sustain their economy. Would you say the fact that you come from that sort of privileged, yes, made it easy for you to follow your passion?
Okay, so this is it. I am someone who I only ask for help when I am in need of it. I rarely ask for help. I rarely ask for handouts. Down to my mom, I rarely ask her to say, "Oh, mom, buy me this, buy me this, buy me this, buy me this." So asking her to get me that camera was a thing of, I'm asking this time, and this is what I want. Would you be able to do it for me? And she was able to do it for me, and the rest is history. So I didn't go in to say, I'm asking for this camera to start making a life for myself. I was still going to be I thought I was still going to be dependent on her. The camera was just pretty much, like I said, passion, to just fuel my passion. So I wasn't thinking about the economy. I wasn't thinking about, oh, if this doesn't work, I'm in trouble, right? I was just thinking about how I needed to get a camera that I was obsessed about.
Yeah.
Right? So nothing else fueled me but passion. So there was no thought on, oh, the economy, I need to find something to start doing. No, none of that. So I don't think me coming from a comfortable household where I can afford, the camera was 170,000 naira then. So I don't think it played a part.
When was this?
I think, if I am not mistaken, I think I would want to check, but I think it was like 2014, 15.
Oh, wow.
Thereabout.
So let's walk through that journey from the camera episode.
Okay.
What did that experience do for you, and how did it graduate into the Bedge?
Yeah. I got the camera, started learning, because a professional camera is so different from a phone. I know I got that camera, and the first few weeks, I wasn't using it as much because it was like rocket science.
It was
There
like
were
Matrix.
So many buttons, and the thing about a professional camera is it doesn't look good so fast. It's not like a phone where you take a picture and everything is already set.
Yeah.
You have to make something.
Make
of
it happen.
You have to make it happen. So
Yes.
it was a challenge. So moving on, started learning how to use the camera, started taking pictures of different things. Hi, Bedge. My birthday is tomorrow. Do you want to come around? Bring your camera. Now, if you tell me that, it's offensive, because I'm like, are you just inviting me for camera? I mean, I want to jail. But then, it's exciting. I was like, oh, let me even now use this camera
Yes.
to do something, right? Get to the birthday, take pictures, earn 5K, earn 10K. It started giving me a sense of business. Oh, this could be a way to start earning money, right? And in the process, still learning how to use my camera, still learning how to be good at my craft, getting better, and people started calling me more for gigs. So I think that's pretty much the journey after I got my camera. Learned how to use it properly, and Jesus took the wheel.
Tell me about those instances where you knew, oh wow, this is a turning point.
This is a turning point. Okay, so the best instance I would use is, it was not my first wedding. Sometimes I say it was my first wedding, but it wasn't. I shot a wedding before that. But this one was the one that showed me the light, right? Had my camera in school, and my friend who was already advanced in photography, he was already a photographer before I even thought about becoming a photographer. So this is someone who I'm always with, because I like, you have a camera, how does this work? My friend, right? And he got a job to videograph a wedding at the Aso Villa. Aso Villa. And he was like, yo, come along and just bring your camera in case I need backup, in case I need help. Who would say no to that, right? This
At the villa.
At the, bruh, at the villa. I'm like, let's go. We move. So followed him up there. He pretty much didn't need my help, right? He pretty much didn't need me because he had everything covered. So I was just there, you know, being mesmerized by the scene, by the wedding, by how everything was just beautiful and well organized, and the couple looked so amazing, right? Not being the official photographer, I had to ask the official photographer. I was like, can I take a couple of pictures when you're done, obviously?
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
So you were not the official photographer?
No.
But the official photographer invited you, so you were there legally.
The official videographer.
Videographer invited.
Yeah.
Now this is where I'm going.
Yeah.
He knew you had your camera with you. He knew you were there to film.
Yeah.
Why did you think you needed to ask him if you could take pictures?
Because,
you understand why I'm asking this question?
Yes, because
courtesy.
Yes, courtesy.
Talk to that.
Because when you're not the official photographer, you don't have rights, pretty much, and you have to respect the official photographer. You wouldn't want to be, because even till date, it happens to me when a client, I am the official photographer, but maybe the mother of the bride or someone hires a different photographer, and I'm taking the pictures, I'm putting a couple in poses that I would want. I am pretty much giving out my creative ideas, and you just see someone, I decide, sneaking and just getting images, and you'll be surprised. You go to sleep and wake up, they've posted pictures, not just theirs, they're posting your concept, right? So I feel like it's kind of wrong. I feel like it's just courtesy to ask. And because you're not someone who edits really fast, or you're not like craved about bringing pictures out so fast, it's already out there. And it makes you feel a type of way, right? So it's always good to ask for permission. Or wait till they are done and take your own pictures, make your own concept, create your own pictures, right? So I had to ask this guy. I was like, hey man, can I take a couple of pictures when you're done? And amazing guy, cool guy. He's like, sure, go ahead. And I did. I just not wasting any time because I'm not the official, right? So I was like, please stay here, and I took the images. But then moving on as the wedding went on, right? Not being the official photographer, I kept on shooting the wedding on the side. So this was me my friend who invited me not needing my help or anything. I was just pretty much floating. I was like, what, let me still take images. And the couple having their first dance, having a moment, they were as intimate as possible, holding hands, enjoying their moment. Me not having the responsibility of doing proper lighting, making sure I'm taking the best images. I was now shooting like a photojournalistic style, a documentary style, where you're just capturing like a ninja. You're just on the side taking the pictures. And went back home, those images, not the ones I took at first, the ones where I took while they were having their moment.
Yeah, the unawares.
The unawares. Those are the ones I put out, and I woke up to like reshares, likes. I kind of felt bad because I was like, I'm not the official photographer, and my pictures went viral. But then it opened my eye to how I shoot, how the ones that people resonated with the most, the unawares, right? So that is where my style even started from. So now that's how I shoot. I shoot a photojournalistic style, unawares, even when I am the official photographer.
So you discovered your style from a position where you were not under pressure. Now, how would you advise or show other creatives how to find their own style?
Find their style to do. There are things that can't be taught. There are things that there's no solution for it. You just have to figure it out yourself. So I think finding your style is one thing. You will stumble on it when the time comes. You will find your style. So I was just lucky enough to find mine with the scenario, with the situation I had, not being the official and not being pressured to do something. This is where you have to shoot more, research more, because maybe to find your style, see how Bedge shoots, see his style. There are other photographers, see how they shoot, see what their style is, and maybe try out the different one and see one that suits you and was easier for you, and you find yours.
How does wedding photography differ from other kinds of photography?
Great question. Wedding photography differs from other kind of photography because first and foremost is wedding photography is a combination of other types of photography, right? So, because when I started out photography, I didn't start out as a wedding photographer. I was doing portraits, I was doing fashion, I was doing anything that I could lay my hands on, right? But then with weddings, you realize that in the course of shooting a wedding, you're discovering different types of photography. So, say, photographing the cake or photographing the shoes of the bride or the accessories, that is product photography. So if you're good at product photography, you take amazing pictures of the bride's shoes, right? Architectural photography, depending on the scene where the wedding is being taken place, there are architectures that you could use. There are photographers that focus on the architecture and you see the couple in one small place by there, but the main picture is the architecture. So that's one. There's fashion, which is the bride's dress, where I feel like I thrive because there's a rush where I see a bride in an amazing, beautiful dress because I'm someone who has a fashion sense, right? I'm someone who has a fashion sense. I'm interested in things like that. There's a bride I shot in Dubai that was wearing a designer that his name is always hard for me to pronounce. Maybe we'll just show the picture. And she was wearing this dress and I was intrigued. The rush couldn't be explained. I wanted to photograph her everywhere because of her outfit. So you see how that could trigger your mind.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why weddings is different from because it's a combination of different kinds of photography.
So in 5 years, you're here. How did it happen?
5 years. I sound like a pastor if I keep saying Jesus took the wheel, but yes. But no. I would always want to still give credit to myself, right? Consistency. That word has been used a lot, but there's a reason because it's true. If you're consistent, the sky will just be the starting point. Stay consistent. I don't know if I would say stay hungry because I'm not doing it because we're hungry. So there's no stay hungry. Maybe to fuel your creativity, stay hungry for that. Stay hungry to create. Stay hungry to do something new. Stay hungry to make your previous wedding not the same as the current one. Stay hungry to, just create amazing images. But consistency is the word I'm going to use to answer your question. Being consistent in everything. Being consistent in how you handle events. Being consistent in your editing skills, right? Have a style. Don't be everywhere and anywhere. And hard work, obviously. You can't be lazy with this. You have to be hardworking. You have to research. Because I learned mostly online. I learned from YouTube. That's why if people say, oh, when is your class coming up? I'm like, teaching is always hard for me, but I would want to teach the way I was taught. The way I learn is the repeated method. Being able to watch something over and over again. Being able to do something over and over again till it sticks.
So photography is photography.
Yeah.
The business of photography is a different ball game altogether. And the clientele is also contributory to when we say people make it. How did you make it? How did you get the clientele?
Let's go on specifics. So if you hear the name Bedge, you can relate it to the fact that, this is someone whose photography style is different from the rest because he uses presets, right? So I have presets I use. This is the technical side of photography. So I had my own style. So if my style is different from your style, you now have a client they are left with a choice. Oh, I like this person's style, I'm going to go here. So I think that's it. Because I created my own style of pictures, right? It means now I have my own, in look and feel. It means now I have my own market. I now separate myself from the rest. So if you're coming to buy pictures or you're coming to hire a photographer, you're like, you go through my portfolio. You're like, oh, I like this person's style. So that's one. Getting a clientele is creating your own style, and the people who resonate with your style, who like your style, will come to you. Another thing is word of mouth, right? That's the best marketing tool ever invented. Word of mouth, referrals. If I shoot your wedding and I do a great job, nobody's going to tell you to refer me to your friend who's asking, oh, who was your photographer at your wedding? You immediately just say, I bet he's very nice and he's affordable. Oh, go here, go here, go here, right? So word of mouth is also key. Another thing is, there was a time where I was very available, price-wise. I wasn't charging as much as the top guys at the time, right? So if Mr. A was charging 500K, I was charging 200, but I was giving equal quality of work, right? I was giving the same quality. So now you walk in and you're like, how much is this guy charging? He's charging 200. It's not rocket science. You're going to the guy who's charging 200. But I was charging 200 because I needed people to come my way, right? But then as time goes on, you start realizing that, okay, it's time to start changing the structure. So if we're now being specific on saying how I moved on, I stopped. So this is my template. We have 2 packages for every year, right? So from January to June, we are charging this. From July to December, we are charging a different amount. So that's actually good advice. That's how I do my business, right? So we change our packages by every half of the year.
What's responsible for that?
Because once you've gotten your clientele and you're okay with it, you already have your pictures, money is still a thing. You need to grow financially. You're going to hire more staff. You're going to need to buy a new camera. And the charge you're charging, that's 200K you're charging, might not be cutting it off. So you always need to improve. So that's what we do. That's what I do. That's my strategy. So even in 2022, January to June is a different price. And now we're not taking, so online, if you go online, we're not taking bookings for the second half of the year because our packages for the second half of the year is not out yet. So people already know that for the second half, I'm having a different price.
And I understand that you're fully booked.
Yeah, for the first half of the year.
How do people get there?
I don't know, man.
Booked for the first half of the year, by February.
Yeah. Because people like my work. People like my art. People like what I do. And I know this, that it's not just about the work, it's about the person. People like my story. People like Bedge. People want to feel it's like, who is this guy? What are you doing? And then the work backs up. Oh, this is I haven't seen something like this before, because I create images that have never been done before. That's one thing I know I can say with my chest, right? So, and online, I'm very good with social media, right? I'm active on Twitter, I'm active on Instagram, I'm active everywhere. And this is an advice I'll give photographers. Make sure you're active everywhere, not just Instagram. Make sure you have a Twitter account that you're saying something, because that's me. If you admire me so much, do the research, see everything, follow me everywhere. The way I speak on Twitter is different from the way I speak on Instagram. Right?
Because you understand the audience.
Yes, so you understand the audience. You're giving a different version of yourself. I have a personal page on Instagram where it's just fashion. Because you sat down and you're like, oh, nice jacket. And I told you straight up, I was like, this is my collection, which is not out yet. So you see how that alone is different from photography entirely. So when you want to hire me and you now see all these elements, it intrigues you. You're now interested in the photographer, not even just the work, the photographer in general. So I think that's pretty much it.
I want to ask you a petty question. um, because I know someone out there wants it answered. The economy of Abuja,
Yes,
and how it exposes you to people with fat wallets. Do you think you would have succeeded with the same level of expertise that you have outside Abuja? Would you leave Abuja?
Would I leave Abuja? I've left Abuja already. I love my Abuja people. I hope they don't come for me after this. I've left Abuja because 80% of our annual gigs is in Lagos. 80%.
So what are you saying here?
Because this is the best place to live, in my opinion, right? I started from ABJ, moved here, and this is where I made my name. I will give it to ABJ. This is where I made my name. This is where Bedge started from. This is where I made enough money to buy my equipment, buy everything. This is where my photography career started. But the minute I tasted Lagos, right? That thing where they say Lagos mentality is different, is true, I've experienced it. But when it comes to living, like where to live, where to stay, it has to be a peaceful place, in my opinion. And this is a peaceful place. This is where, once I'm here, and the fact that all my jobs are in Lagos, everything I do in Lagos, it feels like I'm leaving work and going back home, right? And ABJ to Lagos is just one flight. It's pretty much the easiest route in the country.
Nigeria,
in Nigeria, it's easy. You can, if I want to be in Lagos in 2 hours, I can be in Lagos in 2 hours.
All right, welcome back. We're still talking to Bedge right here in the city of Abuja, Nigeria's capital.
Yep.
Yeah, Bedge. The excellence of your creativity is not in doubt, but there is a kind of person that produces creative work at a certain level. There is a regimen, there is a lifestyle. Now, talk to me about what feeds your work in terms of lifestyle. How do you live to ensure that you are able to create quality work at this level?
I think the most important thing is space. Space, I would say, is something you can identify in my lifestyle, in everything I do. From here, right now, this space is spacious. My house, the only thing I have in my house is like a chair and my table. I don't even have a TV. You understand? So space is the best tool for a creative mind. For a creative mind to thrive, it needs space.
Let's go deeper in that. Now, I know right now you're talking about physical space.
Yes, physical space.
Does it also have anything to do with mental space?
Yeah, it does. It's still.
So I'd like you to link them.
Yeah, still, I mean, physical space helps your mental space. Because if your physical space is choked and clustered, you won't have time to think. You won't have time, because there's something I do when I need to think, and this is why I made WPS like this. Spacious, and it has fun stuff around. When I am editing and I realize that I've been here for an hour painting, I just come down and start playing hoop or playing that, or I'm just walking around. I'm literally just walking in circles. Sometimes they see me and they're like, what's this one thinking? But just my mind taking a break. And that's only possible because I have physical space. Do you understand? So space mentally is reading your mind away from stress, from troubles. So I wake up at 7 and I am a huge sucker for music. Music is pretty much my life, my lifestyle. If I wasn't doing photography, I don't. Yeah, but I listen to a lot of music. I get more inspired by music, movies than photography. So those things inspire me and make me find my style in other places. But yeah, I listen to music, a ton of it. I just sit and not do anything. Like I just listen to music, listen to my favorite artists, discover new music. I'm very happy when I discover music. If you send me a song, a new song, it's like giving me a gift.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's how it is for me with music. So wake up in the morning, listen to a lot of music. Then I always pen things down. I always have my pen and my jotter. In my house, I have my pen, jotter. In the office, I'm always surrounded. In my car, pen and jotter, because a creative mind is crazy, because the minute you think about something, it's gone. You've forgotten it, right? So I would make sure I write it down. If I'm probably washing a plate and I just think about, oh, as my hand is wet, I'm not waiting to even dry it off, writing it down, because I want to put things down on paper. So that's the time, that morning gives me time to structure my day properly. I write everything I'm doing today, edit this, go and buy this, go to the gym, this and this, everything is on paper, and I carry that paper is in my pocket. Every time I open it, I scratch it, oh, I've done this. So it gives me a sense of
Fulfillment.
yeah, fulfillment and accountability.
All right, so let's talk about this beautiful space. I mean,
WPS.
this is audacious.
Yeah,
Coming from, you told me that you used to work from home.
yeah, work from home
And then boom, you're in this space.
in the space.
How did you come about this space?
I worked from home and I didn't have a problem with where I was working at, because I shoot weddings only and I don't do a lot of studio shots. I don't do fashion, because the only time you do something in the studio is probably when the client wants a pre-wedding picture or something, right?
And most often they don't
And
even
most often
want to
they
use
don't
a
even want
studio.
it. So even you can argue that I don't need this space. But like I said, for a creative mind, what you need is space. So I wanted to move out of my comfort zone. So I found this place last year, 2 years ago, right? So I got the place and I wanted it to feel like home. I didn't want to structure it to be like an office. So if you see how WPS is designed, we kept the space spacious. Even when we use dividers, we use grid so that you can see through.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't box your mind away from a certain room. The only place that is boxed off is my office.
So since you came here, have you done anything that made you feel, thank God I got this space?
Yes, every day.
Give me an example.
Every day, because when I think we did a shoot here, and I realized that depth is key. The fact that I can go back and use my 85, going technical, I couldn't shoot with an 85 at my house because of depth. I could only
Yes.
probably shoot with like a
Yes.
50 or
Because
something,
of
or I'll be going and be
Focal distance.
yeah, focal
issues.
distance issues. But here, I'm using my 85, I'm using my 100, and I'm like, yes, I was right. A creative, to create stuff, you need space. And the fact that we can shoot anywhere. So there's a part of WPS where it looks like you're at home. This part here,
Yeah.
right? If I'm shooting a pre-wedding and you don't want it to look like it's done in a studio, we have a lounge-looking place where it feels like you did it in your parlor. So it gives you that home, intimate feel. So I can achieve that here. Also being able to achieve a studio feel here in one space. I was like, God, this is what every creative needs.
I can't imagine how many weddings you
Weddings.
had to photograph.
Yeah.
Have you had any really embarrassing moment? Like,
I haven't had a lot, but I've had one that stuck. Because, okay, so I was shooting Zara Buhari's wedding. I wasn't the official photographer, right? I went with the makeup artist, like I said, to take her headshots, right? And in the line, the makeup artist was like, don't worry now, just go and just go into the wedding, and I'm like, me, very cautious, I'm like, hey, let me not get into trouble or something, but I was just going with the flow, right? So I went with them, into the hall. And mind you, this is the presidential wedding. And this was before Bedge became a name, right? This is a presidential wedding, so there's a lot of security and there's a lot of caution. So I was just there, just feeling uncomfortable, but still, taking pictures. The next thing, there's some TSX guy that just sighted me. As he just sighted me, he was just walking towards me, and I knew that that was when I knew, I was like, okay, Kasala don't boss. And this guy just walks up to me, and he's like, who are you? And I'm like, photographer. I came with the makeup artist. He's like, you're not supposed to be here. I'm like, no. In my mind, I'm like, yeah, I know. Even me here, right now, I'm not supposed to be here. And this guy held my trouser, like the belt. I was like, I begged him. At that point, I just summoned the company. I was like, sir, whatever you do not embarrass me. I will leave, but don't don't use me to catch cruise. Every me will say catch cruise today. Do you understand? Yeah, so the guy was like, oh, yeah, walk.
But wait, couldn't you have told him that you're the photographer for the makeup artist?
Nah, nobody's going to hear that. He wasn't even going to hear me speak.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, could you, in retrospect, could you have handled that differently?
Differently. I mean, yeah, now I would, but like I said,
what would you have done differently now?
Now I would not be in that situation. That's what I would have done differently. I wouldn't be in that situation because that's a very delicate job. That's a job where they know every single person who's in the room.
Yeah.
You understand? So I would decline. Or I would ask the makeup artist to speak.
To make it official.
Which I would do now. But then I didn't. So this guy took me outside and he called another photographer. And he's like, come, and delete his files. I was like, me in shock, scared, and I'm just like, let me just even get out of this situation. He just called the guy and was like, oh yeah, format his camera. And the guy just formatted my camera. And mind you, I didn't have as much knowledge as I have now. I didn't even have the knowledge that if they format a card, you can recover files. Because a day to that wedding, I shot a pre-wedding for a client that came all the way from Kaduna. All the way from Kaduna to come and shoot a pre-wedding with me. And mind you, I'm an upcoming photographer. So imagine me calling, and they formatted everything plus that one and everything. Imagine me calling saying, sorry, I lost your files. They were so disappointed and all. But yeah, that was why I said I would never forget.
You shouldn't have two of that in your career.
What? No, that was an embarrassing moment. That was an embarrassing moment. That was an embarrassing moment. That was one. Because it was like, oh yeah, walk. And you could see, even if they didn't hold my trouser, you could see me walking and people following me there. And I'm like, Chuku, can I just enter the ground, please? And you know, COVID, there was no COVID then, so there was no face masks to even hide the...
Oh my.
If there was face mask, at least I know that nobody sees my face. As I said, thank God my name was not hot then. But they'll say, it's not Bedge, they're carrying like this.
Welcome back. It's that time of the show where we find out what is in the photographer's bag. And that is Bedge in this case. But before then, let's look at some of the amazing pictures he has taken with some of the greatest gears that he has and with his creativity. Yep. All right, so Bedge, take us through some of these images.
Okay, I think this one, I call this one Sweet, Sweet Energy. By the way, there are some pictures on my page that have a name to it. I like naming my images. Sweet, Sweet Energy is a song by my favorite artist, Wizkid. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know why I call it Sweet, Sweet Energy. But
I would have called it the kissing game.
The kissing game, no, it stays Sweet, Sweet Energy. I was probably listening to it or obsessed with that song at the time I created this image. And that's one thing I really like about the image is because you don't get to see people do this a lot here because we have this don't kiss, we can't be seen kissing online, what do our parents say, right? But we forget that most people, it's not a crime, most people are already intimate or with themselves before anything. So this was their pre-wedding shoot. This wasn't a post-wedding, this was anything. But obviously we brought out the pictures after their wedding. Yeah, but it's because that's why I say about changing the style, changing the Nigerian narrative. People need to start being comfortable with themselves. The way I lit this up, I had an umbrella over their head, right? And I just had a tight shot because to get something portrayed very intimate, it has to be tight, it has to be close.
You have to get in there.
You're kissing with them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this one is my bride, Presido Adama, that's her name. And the thing about this image is the fact that everyone behind her, these are her sisters behind her. So this picture would resonate with a lot of people. By the way, this made it to Brides. It made it to Brides, the top magazine. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This made it there. And you could see that the bride is in focus, but there's just this mysterious
people. Who are these guys?
Who are these guys? Because these are her sisters. So even if I'm going to create your portrait, I might create a portrait for having other people in your portrait, your sisters there. So this is a picture of her and her sisters. This is a picture that resonates to the three of them. This is a family portrait.
Yes.
Right? But the focus is on
the focus
the bride.
for that situation.
So how I lit this
occasion
should be talked about because I just used a spotlight that focused on the bride and made everyone else dark. So this image is not photoshopped. This is how it was lit. So
Lovely.
This was one of my favorite weddings. I shot this in Marrakesh. This was in Marrakesh. And the thing about this image is the fact that a lot of people like this image. Like, this image is loved by a lot of people. This also made it to Brides as well. Wow. I think it's just because of the sheer simplicity of it, right? Yeah. It's just because the bride is just standing there. No one is really smiling as much. Everyone is just looking at the image. So it gives you that, it feels like you're standing and just looking at them. There's nothing extra they're doing. There's nothing going on. The
and it's sort of
color,
mystique in a way. We've seen the creativity.
Yeah.
Now let's look at the gears that you use to create this image.
The image, all right.
What's in your bag?
What's in my camera bag? So, opening the bag, there are things that are here that are not photography related. So I have my handkerchief because shooting weddings.
Handkerchief?
Yeah, handkerchief because shooting weddings, you're stressed, you're probably sweaty. I need my handkerchief. It's there. I have my Panadol because sometimes
you're just stressed
You're
out.
so stressed, right? So I have those. It's like my first aid kit is inside here. And I think a lot of photographers should. So you're not just, the only thing in your camera bag is just camera and gear. There are other things. So I have my Panadol, I have a handkerchief. Because another thing with handkerchief is I've had a lot of instances where the groom doesn't have a handkerchief. And I'll just quickly go to my bag and bring out one. And
how awesome is it that it's a photographer that hands you
a handkerchief. So it's good for me and good for my clients. So when they need to wipe their face, I have a fresh handkerchief. And it already just does something to their mind, like, this guy's caring. Right, so those are the things that there. It has a lot of wires. So let's go into the gear. I'll start with the cameras. I recently moved to mirrorless cameras. So I got the R6 and the R5. Right? Wow. And if you notice, my cameras are always red because we have a slogan, we have a thing, eyes on the red camera. We're known for our red cameras. This one's uniform hasn't just come yet. Yeah, so it's a red camera. And the reason I always put a red pouch on my camera is because it helps me say eyes on the red camera. Because when I'm shooting a wedding, imagine you're shooting a wedding where there are a lot of photographers outside. You're trying to do guests and they're like 50 photographers, maybe all these political events, right? And I just scream, eyes on the red camera. Even the people around, they're like, this guy, now what for you? Because the clients immediately just find my camera. Yeah. And if you shoot children, if you're into shooting, it attracts them. So if you just see they are looking at your camera, so it will help you. So, and it looks good, it looks rad, it fits my black.
I love it.
So yeah. So that's
so R5, R6.
R5, R6. So moving on, I think it's my speed lights. Just a good old speed light. I rarely use this guy. I rarely use this guy. So, but it just has to be there in case you're in a situation where maybe you're probably going into a room where they are signing the registry and you can't bring your strobe, or you don't want to have so much.
Yes, just one.
So just speed lights, you get this on.
Awesome.
For lenses, I have my 35mm and this is 1.8. This is not rehearsed, but I was gifted by Camera Joint. So Camera Joint gifted me this camera. So see why?
Awesome guy. Awesome guy.
Awesome guy, actually. Then moving on, because I'm using mirrorless cameras now, I have to now switch to the traditional lenses.
Yes.
So this is the RF 50mm 1.2. I like the 1.2 gang because, and I'm saying gang like I told you, I'm not a technical. So this F or aperture, I wouldn't speak like that. So I like the 1.2 gang because I shoot mostly with continuous natural light. So I want to have as much light coming.
Yeah.
So 1.2, I always go for the 1.2
so
lenses.
they are even faster than the traditional fast lenses that we've had.
Other lenses, I have my RF 24 to 105. I never use this guy.
Why?
I hardly use him because this is a f 4.8. Oh. This is a kit lens. So this came with it's a kit lens for the R5.
Yes,
so I bought this, but then when you need to take, so the only time this guy comes up is when I need to take maybe a group shot and I need a wider focal point. This is where this guy thrives. But half the time it's just sleeping in my bag and not being useful.
Oh, wow.
Then for the big boy, I have the 85 1.2 Canon RF lens. So the story about this lens gave me a serious heart attack. I bought this lens and the price of this lens will shock you when you check. I bought this lens and when it came, after the first time I was using it for a gig, it broke. Like the back, something just dropped on this lens here and it just shattered. And I was like, what? After spending so much money, I haven't even used my money's worth of the lens. So I sent it back to Canon. I sent it back to a company that was meant to fix it. They brought it back, it wasn't still working. I was just so depressed. I now sent it back again to Canon officially and they fixed it and they brought it back. So this lens gave me...
It must have cost you.
Of course, pretty much equivalent to buying another one. But this is an amazing, amazing lens. This lens is a game changer. I live in this lens. So half the time, this is always what's in my camera, attached to my camera. So my team might be shooting with different stuff, but I'm just capturing the moments with this guy. So this is an amazing.
So there's been so much talk about the light that Bedge uses. So what's it about the lights?
So continuous light. I shoot with a continuous light. So this is the Stella Pro. This is the bad boy. I've had this now for, over a year. It's very rugged. As powerful as it comes. I think this thing has dropped a ton of times, but because of how rugged it is,
can I feel it?
Yeah, because of how rugged it's so durable, and the fact that the battery is inbuilt, anything that has a battery
provides
inbuilt,
continuous light.
Yeah, continuous light.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the Stella Pro. So rugged light, and the fact that it's handy, as opposed to a bigger strobe that will take your bag. So running gun style, if I have to quickly pack a bag to go somewhere, I'll just carry my camera, carry one lens, and carry this light, right? So it doesn't have a lot of battery that you have to be connecting. Once it's charged, you pretty much turn it on.
So it can last you an entire wedding?
An entire wedding, if used right. Because it's continuous light, it can't stay on for too long. The battery is going to drain, but if used right, maybe only when you want to use it, you just turn it on. It comes with a remote in case you need to use it. So this is the Stella Pro, this is one light.
Wow.
Then, so this is the Stella Pro Reflex X, and I got this from Camera Joint. I think we have a partnership now. So to get these bad boys, you can get it for a really good price through us. And there's nowhere in Africa you can get this light cheaper. So even if you want to buy this light from them, it's going to cost you more.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just best to go through Camera Joint and you get a great deal. They really give us I got this for at the time, before we got the discount, I got this for 800K. Yeah, but now you can get it for 500. So that's the deal we got through these guys. So You people need to buy these lights. It's really amazing. So this one now, this is a game changer, honestly. I am not one who would, as much as I'm an Igbo man, selling to people is always off for me. I'm like, don't think I'm trying to make money. That's why I'm pushing stuff. If something resonates with me, if something
gives me result,
I would want to share with you, right? That's why I spoke to Camera Joint. I was like, guys, let's introduce this light to people because I'm satisfied, more than satisfied with this light. But this right here is a game changer. So this is a continuous light that now serves as a flash. So this is a continuous light that you can now use with your trigger. So imagine having a continuous light and a flash.
The flash
all
in one piece.
In one piece. So it's actually a game changer. And as time goes on, I'm going to be using this light more and people are going to be seeing what this light is. Because for me to convince you to buy something, I'll just rather show you what is useful. I'm not saying, oh, go and buy this today. No, I want to even use it to see the full marks of it. And these lights are rugged. So they would fall, you would hit it, nothing is going to happen to them because of how the build quality is just very, very sturdy. So yeah, that's the thing with this light, the Stella Pro.
So you just put it on a monopod.
Or you can just hold it. So I use this now for like after parties because, and this is why it is amazing for after parties, because after parties is when everybody wants to unwind, when everywhere is dark and people are loose, right? People are having fun and they wouldn't want you bringing light to their face. You're probably going to trigger them, right?
Yeah.
They are in their dark mode. So because this is a continuous light, you can now choose to either leave the continuous light on or strobe it. So you can now just be flashing. So there's no, but this guy, since this guy is a continuous light on his own, it has to stay on.
Yeah.
So people are like, sorry, turn off your light.
Yeah.
But with this, it's a continuous light, but then it's a flash. So you don't need to use the continuous light feature, you just have to use the flash. So, and it's convenient. Wow. You're not carrying an assistant who's holding light. So it's just you, you're even dancing with them, and you just hold this and you're like,
so what? This is going to be on your second hand.
This is just exactly how I'm holding it. This is how it is with my camera, just this. So I'm shooting a after party, this is me. I'm like, you see? So I'm not spooking people, I'm not in their faces. I'm just like, hey, can I take a picture? And they're like, yeah. Right? As opposed to maybe using a speed light, because for a speed light to work, you need to bounce something down. But if you're shooting outdoor, there's nothing to bounce.
Wow.
So handy. So this is a game changer. And
so that's, what's the name again?
Stella Pro Reflex S.
So guys, that's the Stella Pro Reflex X.
And
X or S?
S.
S.
Yeah.
All right, that's the product. Yeah. You may want to look it up. Do your own research.
Do your research.
I mean, Bilo's told me one of the greatest things that photographers can do is research. That's it on Camera Lounge for today. Thank you very much,
Thank you
Bedge,
so much
for coming. It's been such an amazing time talking to you.
Thank you so much. I had a good time.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I rarely do this because speaking in front of camera is always weird.
You didn't do badly. Trust me.
All right.
Yeah, and that's it on the show for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayode Alayande. Bye now. Lights, camera, action.